So moving on to some fruits, vegetables, and other things that are essentials in my kitchen. I first want to say I don't have any real fresh fruits and vegetables out here because I think that they're pretty self-explanatory. You should always have fresh fruits, leafy green vegetables, and other root vegetables and things like that in your kitchen. So I don't have that here. That does not mean that they're not kitchen essentials. That just means I believe they're self-explanatory, so you can just pick the vegetables and the fruits that you prefer and make sure that you have those in your kitchen. And also, I do want to suggest that you have frozen green vegetables in your freezer for the times that you run out of any fresh vegetables. So when it's time to cook dinner, you want to make sure you have vegetables. If you don't have anything fresh, always have some vegetables in the freezer as a backup. So the first thing that I want to talk about, let's see, I'll talk about bananas. So bananas, fruit. I use bananas in a lot of baked goods. I don't particularly like to eat bananas, but my husband and my daughter do, so I have them here for them to eat. But I also use them in baked goods as a binder. I freeze bananas and make ice cream. Bananas are definitely an essential in my house. I always have them. In addition to the bananas, I have avocados. Avocados are definitely an essential in my house. I cannot live without avocados. I buy these in bulk from Costco or BJ's. They have very quality avocados, and you generally get, what is this, 5 or 6 in a pack. So I keep avocados on deck just to eat, to add to food, to do avocado toast, to make sauces, all of that good stuff. And then I have green jackfruit in a can. This is the unripe form of jackfruit. I don't prefer to eat food in a can, but the reason that I have this in a can is because traditionally jackfruit has been very difficult to find in my area. It is becoming more available now, but even with it becoming available now, it's usually not green. It's usually ripe. And I use jackfruit as a meat replacement. So I don't necessarily want ripe jackfruit to replace meat in a meal because ripe jackfruit is like a sweet fruit and I wouldn't want to use that. So if you can find fresh green jackfruit, that is the best to use. It is delicious. But if you cannot, you can get it in a can. The only place I've ever seen it in a can around my way is at Trader Joe, but I'm pretty sure other people sell it in a can as well. Again, keep in mind that if you're going to use it as a meat replacement, you want to get the green jackfruit. So this I keep on deck all the time. You can use it as a chicken replacement. You can, for those of you who eat pork or used to eat pork and are looking for a replacement, it works well as a pulled pork replacement because it shreds really well. So this is definitely a kitchen essential. I also have sun-dried tomatoes. They're just good. They just taste good. They add flavor to so many different dishes. I'll add sun-dried tomatoes to my walnuts when I make walnut meat. I simmer it in sauces, especially when I use coconut milk. I'll simmer it to give it flavor. Sometimes I'll leave the tomatoes in. Sometimes I take the tomatoes out of the sauces if I just want the flavor and not the actual tomato. It just depends on what I'm making, but this is definitely an essential because it really does taste good. And then another essential are lemons. I cannot live without lemons. I put lemons in everything. I squeeze lemons in all of my sauces, on all of my foods, on my vegetables. Lemons are just amazing. And then the next two things that I have is fresh onion and fresh garlic. I do not generally buy minced garlic in the jars that's packed in water or whatever it's packed in. I always buy fresh garlic and I always buy fresh onion. This is a yellow onion. I usually buy Spanish onions, yellow onions, or red onions. One note about garlic. There are some diets that restrict garlic, especially alkaline diets that restrict garlic. So if you are on a specific type of diet, you would definitely want to make sure that you check to see if garlic is a part of that diet. If it's not, then you would want to nix it. It wouldn't be a part of your kitchen essentials. But for me, I use it a lot and I also use it for medicinal purposes. So definitely check on the garlic if you're trying to move into a specific type of dietary lifestyle. What else do I have here? I have a couple of herbs that I want to show, and this is just an example just to show you that you should have herbs in your kitchen and in your household. So some of the dry herbs that I want to show are dandelion leaves. So you can make teas out of dandelion leaves. You can add them to food. And then I also have golden seal and myrrh, which is good for your immune system. My husband travels a lot. He's a musician. So I try to make sure that I have herbs in the household that support his immune system because he comes in contact with a lot of people. These are just a couple of the herbs, a couple of the herbs that I have in my house. Of course, you should get the herbs that you need. I have a lot of different herbs for a lot of different things, but I'm showing you these just to tell you that you want to make sure you have dry herbs in your kitchen. I also have a liquid herb here. I have liquid echinacea, which again is an immune booster. And like I said, my husband travels a lot, so this is for him. I also have an autoimmune disease, so sometimes I need that extra boost when I'm going to be around a lot of people. This is this is an alcohol-based echinacea, and I make my own liquid herbs, which are called tinctures. So this is one that I made. I have echinacea, I have St. John's wort, I have all different kinds, but you just want to make sure that you keep these herbs in your kitchen. Liquid herbs can be added to teas and drinks. They can also be added to foods. So you want to make sure you keep herbs in your kitchen. And then finally, I want to show you two things really quickly. I suggest that you do not use aluminum foil when you cook. Parchment paper is a better option. So, wherever you would use aluminum foil to line a baking dish or a cookie sheet or something like that, you can use parchment paper. I believe every piece of parchment paper that you use can be used up to 5 times. So if you use it like to bake cookies and it doesn't necessarily get dirty, then you can use it again and again. Parchment paper is something that you can compost. So when you're done with it, you can put it in the compost bin and it'll break down there so that you don't add it to a landfill. And like at my house, I have a compost bin, so I'm able to put my parchment paper in there when I use it. But an even better option is this. And this is a silicone mat. And this silicone mat, food does not stick to it. It's bendable, it's pliable. I have 2 of these. I'm probably gonna get 2 more. It can be used in replace of parchment paper, in replace of aluminum foil. It's very easy to clean. Obviously, it's reusable, so you can use these for a long time. So for those who would use parchment paper, but you are thinking about sustainability and you know that you can't compost your parchment paper, you might want to invest in a silicone mat. Now, everything that I've shown you today are my kitchen essentials, just to give you an idea of the things that you can buy when you go to the grocery store if you're transitioning into a plant-based diet or if you just want healthier options in your kitchen. These are things that will help you along the road to making healthier foods. If you stock your kitchen with items like this, then you will have the ingredients that you need. Keep in mind that this is what I use, and this is to give you an idea of what you can use. But you may be someone who has a nut allergy, or you may be someone who doesn't like dates or something like that. So keep in mind, this is what I use. You use what you use, but I do believe that this is a good starting point for people who just don't know what to buy. I sometimes give information in a way where I assume that the people I'm speaking to know what I'm talking about because this is my lifestyle and I'm just used to it. So if there's any information that I give that's not quite clear, or if you have questions, you can always send me a message. You can even DM me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook and Instagram under Shah Janelle, which is SHAHJANNELE. You can comment on my posts. Hopefully I was pretty clear, but like I said, sometimes because I'm so used to this, I don't give too many details, and sometimes people need more. But what I also plan to do is to go into more detail about each item and maybe even present some more items in the future and in future videos. So just keep paying attention to what I'm doing. Keep going to www.shajanelle.com. I'll update it every once in a while with some information and some products and some suggestions. And I do hope that this was helpful. And I wish you well on your healthful journey.